Hello, everyone. Here's Max, KORDEK, CEO and co-founder of Lisk. Welcome back to my AMA for December, the last one for this year, in which I'm going to wrap up the year and give you a little bit of insights what's coming next year, at least if your questions allow that. So please ask all your questions on the YouTube chat in order to let me answer them accordingly. And just as always, a little bit of talking in the beginning. So we just finished our end of year event, Amplifier, which in my opinion was a great success, already has several thousand views on YouTube. And during the event, we covered briefly 2021, but focused much more on the future, specifically on 2022 and the years after that. And we first of all, announced that the Lisk platform is going to launch next year. And this comes with the release of the Lisk SDK version 6, which enables developers to build interoperable blockchain applications, and the release of Lisk Core version 4, which will be the platform launch because Lisk Core is creating the platform. And that means after 7 years of development, we finally achieved this big milestone after interoperability was revealed at Lisk.js and fully published this year. And well, for the project and the team, this obviously changes everything because we're moving from the building phase into a production phase and can therefore, again, make more marketing, business development, and focus more on building a community and an ecosystem of blockchain applications. So everything will change once again for the Lisk project. I'm really thrilled to see how our ecosystem will grow in the coming years. And next to that platform launch, we also announced several new products we're going to launch over the coming years. They all have something to do with access to tokens. On the one side, it's a fiat on-ramp, the access to the LSK token with fiat. On the second side, it's the DEX, the decentralized exchange, which allows everyone to purchase any token in a decentralized manner without a middleman on the Lisk network. This is a blockchain application built with the Lisk SDK. And these so-called Lisk bridges, which enable cross-chain transactions between other ecosystems and the Lisk ecosystem, for example, Ethereum, so that you could essentially then pull every Ethereum ERC20 token into the Lisk ecosystem in order to use them in blockchain applications, for example, to trade them on our DEX. And another big announcement at Amplifier was that all these 3 access points to tokens essentially are being monetized by the Lisk Foundation in a completely non-profit way, meaning that everything what we earn will have to be used for the purpose of the foundation. And that means, well, building the Lisk project. And with that, we hope to become sustainable so that we can continue what we are doing now since several years, basically forever. And that's the big idea behind Lisk, that the project is sustainable with these access points and that we can then focus on building a great ecosystem, a great community, and a large number of blockchain applications on the Lisk platform. And for that, we have also communicated a goal for the Lisk SDK and for the Lisk platform. The goal for the Lisk SDK is to become or to be the industry standard for JavaScript blockchain application development. And for the Lisk platform, it is to onboard 100 million users onto the Lisk platform or to crypto and Web3. And that will come with, the number of active addresses, which we use as the number of users. And all of that we do to, really make one thing, to make blockchain accessible. So the ultimate vision for the Lisk project is to make blockchain accessible so that people can benefit from this technology. And this we're doing with the set goals I just outlined and with the set products we are building next to the current product palette. So a quick summary of what we presented at Amplifier in terms of the new vision and the way forward. Backwards started with a new products, then goals, and then the vision itself. Further, we also have published a timeline for the SDK and platform releases for next year, when we're going to do the beta or beta releases, the audit, security audit, and like the full production release of these 2 products. And we also announced the new marketing strategy. It's not complete what we announced or presented. It's just like a glimpse into the next year with new partnerships, collaborations, and new efforts. And well, a much bigger budget. And with all of that, also a bigger team working on the Lisk project. So a lot is happening next year. It's the 20th of December. In 4 days is Christmas. In 5 days it's my holiday, my birthday and holiday. I will turn 30. So that's the last AMA for this year. You see it's a new microphone. We really hope that this increases the quality of the audio. The camera is just a webcam of my MacBook. I don't have another camera right now available, but from next year on, with a bigger budget and a bigger team, we're focusing on more quality. So you can expect the quality of the AMAs to go up. In my case, we are reimagining the strategy because we feel like just these monthly AMAs are not enough. I just need to provide more direct interactions with the community. So I'm looking for ways to do this. I'm still thinking about how exactly. We'll finalize something over the holidays, work on that. But it will basically then be more like quick videos about a specific topic where you can hear my opinion on them and you can also ask some questions. But let's see how all that goes. So after a lot of talking and a recap of Amplifier, let's jump on the questions. I'm opening here the YouTube chat. But at the same time, I think I will also open Discord, just in case people have questions there as well. And then in a minute, I will start with the answers. Okay, Discord is open. By the way, we're now part of the Discord partner program. I'm not 100% sure yet what kind of benefits we get out of that. That's quite nice to see that we are being acknowledged by Discord itself as an active community. All right, so to the questions. We begin with, where's the first one? There's a Japanese one. I don't know what that means. By nobody. How is employment going? How many people did you hire this year? How are you going to hire 40 plus next year? So in this case, we hired, if I remember correctly, 2 people within the Lisk Foundation, 2 lawyers, Ivona and Ella, and several people within our main contractor, Lightcurve. And there we didn't have big hiring plans, so we just hired either what was really necessary or to replace people who were leaving, and to grow the team a little bit because we saw some deficiencies in some of the processes, so we needed to fill them with human resources. And I think overall this year, I'm not sure how many people we hired. I guess between 10 and 20. So not that many, but still quite a number. But for that, I would have to check our HR software. But we hired them without really any help, without recruiters, without a recruitment agency, without team members who really focus on that full time. And next year, we're changing the strategy there because we, of course, see the need to, strengthening our efforts because we're going to hire so many more people. And that's where we're working together now with several recruiters, external ones, who help us to contact applicants or candidates directly in order to bring them through the interview process internally then at Lightcurve. We're also working with agencies together, but only on key positions because these agencies cost like 25% or more of the first yearly salary. And we are strengthening our operations team in order to be able to process all incoming candidates from the recruiter, from the agencies, and from, us ourselves or the applicants who apply on our website more efficiently. So the HR team is going to be bigger than 2021 so that we can process everything a bit more swiftly, because that's, I think, a very important thing in recruitment, that you process the candidates very fast. So that's how Lightcurve is going to hire. Else, for other partners of ours or other contractors of the Lisk Foundation, like Waxman or Ninja Promo, that's not clear how they're going to hire. They probably already have the resources, so I cannot say anything about there, but we are increasing the efforts across the board. So everywhere we are having more human resources in the next year. Then a question for Pchemer: what's the ETA for the Lisk DApps between Sapphire phase and the Diamond phase completion, or after the Diamond phase? So the ETA is, at this point, a little bit blurry because it's still quite some time out. However, definitely after the production launch of the platform, of course, else it wouldn't be possible to deploy the DApps, and before the production launch of the Diamond phase. So we're aiming to release it as soon as possible after we launch the Lisk core version 4 mainnet. So I guess somewhere in 2023. Then the next question by Anonymovi: how will look new platform? Some sneak peek. So we published a few screenshots at Amplifier. These are just mock-ups, so just something we quickly created in order to enhance your imagination of what to come. At the end of the day, you will be able to sign in with Lisk Desktop into your account and, into your account of any blockchain application on the Lisk network. So you can sign into the main chain or into any blockchain application on the Lisk platform, and you will always get the same address, your contacts, an overview of the transactions and the cryptocurrencies you own on that blockchain. And you're switching contacts essentially by switching the chain. And this way you can always have an overview of the transactions and tokens or cryptocurrencies you own on a specific chain. And that's exactly like how it will look like once the platform launched. I think from a user experience standpoint, this will be the beginning, how we will do it, because you can own so many tokens on so many different blockchains that this is a very big problem. However, we think, or we feel, with that mechanism, we have a very good starting point. And from there, we will then take it forward. But the main action will happen on the user interfaces of the blockchain applications anyways. On Lisk Desktop or Lisk Mobile, you can only do the base set of transactions. For example, on desktop, that's going to be multi-signature, regular transactions, voting transactions, delegate or authority registrations, these kind of things. And on mobile, a few of them, because we're focusing on simplicity there. But then on the user interface of these blockchain applications, that's where everything else will be possible. For example, on the DEX, you will be able to trade tokens, or if it's an NFT marketplace, you're going to be able to create maybe NFTs or auction them off. So that's all happening on these external user interfaces where you would have to kind of connect Lisk Desktop or mobile too. It will be a bit similar to MetaMask, just not a browser plugin, but the apps for desktop and mobile. But I guess also a little bit better in terms of the user experience, because we can show more information so that the user always knows what kind of transaction they're going to sign. Hope that helps a little bit to imagine how it will look like once the Lisk platform goes live. Then a question by Anthony Morinello: can you give any update on any exchanges opening withdrawals and deposits, particularly Binance? Team still in contact with those that still have them disabled. So there are two which should come up quite soon. They're in the last phases of testing. I don't know if Christmas comes into way or not. With Binance specifically, I am not sure what the status is. We are in contact with them. With Binance now, it was a little bit silent for the last week or 1.5 weeks, but we are in regular contact. They put out this ETA, so that's what we have to take for the moment. But yeah, let's see how the story develops there. And for any other exchanges, either they're still on working on the implementation or they are not replying. But at this point of time, nearly all of the exchanges which supported the Lisk token before are working on the update. But the biggest problem seems to be really the resources available within these exchanges. But well, the situation should become better. And for future either migrations or hard forks, this is not like an issue anymore, because the problem with Lisk version 3 was just that everything changes. Address system, fee system, like many API changes were in place as well. So this is why it's so much work. It's essentially like adding a new coin. While future migrations or hard forks will not cause such a disruption because the API stays relatively the same. Could be that a field sometimes changes its place or so, but that's minor work. So don't be afraid that this will now happen every time we're updating the mainnet. Then beta testing of Lisk Mobile seems to be going pretty well. Are you still on pace to release in January, also by Anthony? So for everyone who doesn't know it, for the beta testing of Lisk Mobile, because it's an iOS or Android application, it goes a little bit differently. We cannot just publish it. We have to use something called a test flight, where we add individual Apple accounts to the test flight, and they can then download the beta version and give it a try. For that, we have taken some of the most active community members and created, so to say, a beta testing group, which are taking care of Lisk Mobile testing next to the team members, of course. And well, I still see some issues in place, but our front-end team is working on them. And while the planned release, I think, is for beginning of January, looking that we also have to release an RC candidate. And then 2 weeks of testing minimum, that's our process established, then it will be quite tough to hold the 6th of January deadline. But let's see how the team is doing. But I guess somewhere in January is realistic. We want to get all of this done actually this year, but then also in January, so that we can really fully focus on interoperability and the Lisk platform launch in 2022. So these distractions should be sorted out as soon as possible in the new year. So it's still quite positive for January. Then again, this Japanese question, I will now quickly translate that. 1 second. So, it's about Binance. There's the user, let me check, Abdul Hadi is asking that Binance withdrawals and deposits will probably resume on December 31st. And there will be CLSK airdrops from Binance. And this month may be the last time we have CLSK with the competition. I don't really know what CLSK is. I see in the non-translated text that CLSK is being used. I guess it's from one of the sidechain projects. I have no idea what's going on there, so I cannot speak for a sidechain project. I can't be involved in everything, unfortunately, but please go to the sidechain developer and ask your question there directly, so that you can get an answer to your question. Then a question by Blaine Mono. On Amplify event, you mentioned about establishing revenue streams by Lisk Foundation, what these will be. So that's what I talked about in the opening of this AMA, and maybe you tuned in a little bit later. So we want to establish revenue streams wherever we're providing access to a token. That means when you're purchasing the LSK token with our fiat on-ramp, we want to take a small cut. When you're trading any token on the Lisk platform on the DEX, we're taking a small cut. Let's see how that is being structured, either with just by running a delegate ourselves on that blockchain application or with a direct fee, how it's being done in Uniswap, for example, as well. But that's all still up for discussion, but we definitely want to take a small cut there as well. And with the Lisk bridges, which enables you to pull in any other token from other ecosystems into the Lisk ecosystem. For example, any ERC20 token on Ethereum. And for that, we will likely have to establish a specific bridge per ecosystem. So we're still evaluating the candidates and the most beneficial options for us. So with these 3 products, essentially, we want to earn revenue in order to finance the Lisk project forever. The beauty is, well, not possible with a fiat on-ramp because it's a centralized app, but with the bridges and the DEXs, these are blockchain applications. They're decentralized. They're going to be open source. So whoever doesn't like that, we're taking a small cut there for the benefit of the project, can fork the project and register a new blockchain application where no cut is being given. So we believe that we want to give that option to everyone, and we want to make it all accessible and simple. And for that, we need to take it in our own hands, while at the same time, it's very beneficial for the Lisk Foundation then to earn a revenue and, well, basically develop this project forever. But if anyone thinks, no, this should be for free, they can always fork the projects and register their own blockchain app. So I think that's a very nice option. But currently, these 3 ideas are in place and will be executed and worked on in the coming years. We hope that until 2025, they are all fully established, and hopefully, well, either the first revenue or maybe already the sustainability is being reached by 2025. Let's see. Then a question from Abdurrahman Salim. I want to ask about Max Subplay, why it's not identified. I don't understand that question. So the next one by Anonymove. When will Lisk store be open? We can buy some 3D printing gadgets. So for whoever doesn't know that, Anonymove is our big 3D printing fan or all-rounder in the Lisk community. And he's referring to a Lisk merchandise store, which we announced at Amplifier, where you can, well, buy Lisk t-shirts, sweatshirts, and so on. This store is being done in collaboration with Lisk Center Utrecht and the Musti team. So super cool that everyone who wants a t-shirt or sweatshirt or other items can soon purchase them with the Lisk logo on. If there will be some 3D printing things, I don't know. My knowledge there's also limited, but I think you can always download these print files from the internet. So Anonymove, if you want to provide other users with your printing samples, like the glasses or the small figures you're printing always, or the Lisk logo, yeah, feel free to do that. But I'm not sure if it will be available in the merchandise store. I don't think so. And when it will be open, somewhere next year. I think we gave relative date at Amplifier. Just check back there in the video. But that's all, well, still to be discussed in detail when exactly we're opening that. Yeah. Then, well, that was it with the last questions. I'm waiting a little bit if you have some further questions. And Toru Tanaka was saying not question Japanese, so I don't know, maybe the question formulated by Abdul Hadi isn't even real Japanese. That's why the translation tool wasn't able to properly translate it. But yeah, like I said already, I cannot speak for other blockchain application projects. Then a question by Nobody. Can the foundation return the stolen funds if it is sure that they have been stolen? I'm talking about uninitialized accounts. So I don't know exactly how it can be sure that it is being stolen, because, well, whoever has a passphrase, like, which provides them with access to the funds, even though it was like part of a collision attack, it's always on the chain. So it's very hard to assess who is the original owner. If there are two passphrases to the same private key, which is the case in such a collision attack, then it's nearly impossible to state who was first, unless maybe they were part of the ICO or something like this. So we cannot reimburse people who have never initialized their Lisk accounts, even though we warned since 2017 in blog posts on Twitter and all other social media channels. Yeah, a bit unfortunate, but we really did our best in order to communicate that issue, which was in place with Lisk version 2. I mean, the solutions were fully researched already also since quite some time, and we implemented them, tested them, and now released them with Lisk version 3. So this is not an issue anymore, but we really have communicated it since 2017. So yeah, there's nothing we can do at this point of time. I'm really sorry to say this, but well, this has to be the end of the case with Lisk version 3. Then a question by X Ivason X. When marketing offensive is planned for, marketing so far seems like being in a nutshell. So, well, marketing in 2020 was in a nutshell, meaning only focus on the Lisk community, like communicating our efforts to them. And that's it. This year in 2021, we have went quite far outside. We published news articles on many news portals, sponsored and unsponsored. We were present in many podcasts, in interviews, and regular articles from journalists about the Lisk project. We were on some conferences like Token 2049 in London. We purchased banners and other advertisements either on news portals of cryptocurrencies or on pages like CoinDesk or We Are Developers and so on. We also had several campaigns and competitions for the Lisk community, but which also reached outside of our community. We just added the Lisk hashtag icon to Twitter, which should also be observable from outside this nutshell. So we've done already quite a bit, but the problem is there are 7,000 cryptocurrencies currently alive. And there's some of these currencies with like billions in funding essentially. So it's very hard to stand out. I think at the end, quality and consistency will really show everyone that we're a serious project. And it's a lot about just having the budget to bring the word out to the masses. And that's what we're doing next year with a 5 times bigger budget than this year. And that's quite significant because this year's budget was, well, mainly the Lisk Center Utrecht, the Lisk Center Berlin, which unfortunately are closed due to COVID, and Vaxxman PR, and, well, the grant or bounty program. So there were, well, many efforts, but not as many as there will be next year. But 5 times really means actually more, because all these costs I just mentioned will stay, of course, the same next year as well. So there will be much more money available for all kinds of promotions and marketing campaigns. So yeah, I think this will make a big difference. So let's see, what do you think at the end of next year, like about our marketing efforts? Your next question also talks about how our marketing is focused on developers so far. Well, yes, because we had a product for developers, the SDK. Next year, we will have a product for users as well, the Lisk platform. And that's where we are then focusing also on the user. So you can expect from next year on also more, well, we call it like blockchain industry marketing, where we are talking to more blockchain enthusiasts, like on Twitter, on Reddit, and so on. So yeah, our marketing focus basically shifts from exclusively developers towards developers and users. so that developers are available to build blockchain applications on our platform, but also users exist in order to use these blockchain applications. So it's a little bit of a chicken egg problem, but we're working on that with this change in marketing strategy as announced at Amplifier. Then a question by MG, will the Lisk SDK ever be supported on Windows? No, this is not possible. We are using tools or I'm not sure, libraries, which make it impossible to use it on Windows itself. So that, well, will never work. You can run it on Windows with a Docker container, so you can develop on Windows, and many people actually prefer to develop in a Docker container. So there's nothing stopping you from doing that. So all good. However, like native support will not be possible in the future. Then a question by Michał, talk to Elon Musk to pay for Tesla and LSK. Well, I hope I will meet him one day. Let's see, I'm driving a Tesla. It's a great car, so let's see if I will meet Elon in person at one point of my life and pitch Lisk to him. Let's see. Then a question again by nobody. Does Lisk HQ have a long-term NFT emission strategy? Will these NFTs have any future use? So, well, I initially said something like we're going to monetize and build access points for tokens. And of course, NFTs are also tokens, non-fungible. But we made the clear decision that we cannot take on too much, so we will leave that up to the community. And that's where so far 2 NFT projects appeared, one's NFT and one's Collecti, which are doing something with NFTs in our Lisk ecosystem. So everything what has to be, what is in relation to NFTs is not ours. It's these community projects. And I'm quite sure that they have a long-term strategy to distribute more NFTs to the community. We are doing that already. We've done that in collaboration with the Lisk Center Utrecht and the Collecti team at Halloween and during Amplifier. So that was all super cool and successful, and I think shows how tremendously helpful these NFTs are in order to build a community and engage them. So I'm sure this will be continued. Don't want to take any wind out of the sails essentially for next year, but there are some things planned. And with NFT, I guess they're developing their MVP and soon production blockchain application to be then registered and launched with a Lisk platform launch next year. So I guess we will see some marketing campaigns coming from them as well. How exactly they look like, I don't know yet. That's up to them to decide, to publish, and to talk about. So NFTs will continue to play a big role in the Lisk ecosystem, but they are being done through community projects, not through us directly. We are focusing on the fungible tokens. Then a question by Ultrafresh, not sure if it has been asked, what is the status of the hardware wallets being usable? So I just updated today the Ledger hardware wallet user guide. It is possible now to use the Ledger hardware wallet Nano S and Nano X with the latest Lisk desktop version 2.2 beta. So now both of these hardware wallets are supported. In the Ledger Live app, you see now the Lisk firmware, I think version 2.0.3. So you just need to update everything and it should work with S and X. So that's already super cool and should be released into production in January. But whoever needs to access their LSK tokens on their hardware wallets immediately can always do that without using the workaround we introduced in Lisk desktop version 2.1. So that's already good. For Trezor, we are planning a Lisk desktop version 2.3. So another minor version. However, here we are limited to the Trezor team itself, adding Lisk back into their firmware. So that's a little bit problematic at this point. They announced they're going to introduce it somewhere next year. So we're continuously in contact with them to make sure that this happens as soon as possible. However, at this point, I cannot say anything, but Ledger is being implemented and production released very soon in January. And with that, we also launched a campaign for Amplifier where we gave away 100 Ledger devices. I just saw them in the office, so we will now send them to the winners. This will take a bit because now it's Christmas, then it's New Year's Eve, and like sending 100 packages all over the world always is a challenge. We always run into some problems there with customs or the recipient not even existing, whatever, all kinds of weird situations seem to appear there always, like when we are sending the Lisk merchandise bags, but we're working on that for January. So yeah, hardware wallet, Ledger works, Trezor later. Then a question by Jordan Garza. Can you please market more on how Lisk's interoperability solution can be the best compared to others? So yeah, we have the idea to compare it to the Polkadot and Cosmos interoperability solutions on our website. Unfortunately, at this point, we don't have a website manager. So the website is a little bit on the back burner, but it's one of our top priorities to hire someone there in Q1 next year so that we can give the website a fresh new look, targeted to users as requested also for our marketing, where we can provide much more snackable or easily digestible information about Lisk and comparisons to other projects. So yes, this is on the way for next year. Then, not sure if it's a question, but by Michał, think about this because think about paying for Tesla and LSK tokens because it's a big step for adoption for LSK, and Elon has a big community. Well, first of all, Lisk is not a payment token. We are a utility token for the Lisk blockchain application platform. In order to use the LSK tokens on these blockchain applications, not to buy certain things, and this course will be maintained. So we will not now start introducing the LSK tokens in online shops, whatever. With Elon, well, he is the richest man in the world and the most powerful man in the world at this point, probably. Person of the Year by Time magazine. So, of course, he's a great guy to get involved with. But first, we need to have a platform, we need to have a product, we need to have blockchain applications and so on before we can even think about having a chance there. So let's all stay realistic here. Then a question by Anonymovi again. How many ambassadors will be in Lisk? Everybody can be. So he's referring to the ambassador program we're going to launch next year. For that, please wait for further information. We're going to publish them next year once all the details are sorted out organizationally, but also legally. Nothing is as easy as it seems. But once this is all done, we will launch the ambassador program and hopefully have then quite a wide array of individuals really dedicated on either managing the community, organizing events worldwide, locally, and other kind of ambassador areas of responsibility. More about that next year. And then a question by, I never know how to pronounce the name, but Sue Papley. What do you think the most effective form of outreach you're currently using is, and do you have any evidence that it is working? So I think at this point, we don't have too many outreaches as effectively as they should be. These articles on news pages, I think, are effective, but not that effective. I think the most effective is to join other communities of crypto and do like AMAs there, or promotional campaigns. And then what communities? I think in this case, it's really exchanges, because many people seem to not be part of the cryptocurrency community they actually own. They're just on the exchange buying some token because they think it's going up. So they're part of the exchange community, not of the original project's community. That hurts a little bit, but that's definitely something we can attack next year. So that's where we where I think next year the most effective form of outreach will be to work together with exchanges on promotional campaigns, AMAs, educational campaigns, and so on and so forth, to make their user base aware of Lisk. Let's see if our theory here is working. There will be evidence, of course, with reports created around these campaigns, but I think that would be the most effective. Currently, it's probably whatever we're doing on Twitter, because on Twitter we have the biggest community, and adding just this hashtag has shown quite a surge in engagement. So I think that would be one of the more effective strategies in place right now. Then a follow-up question by Suplapli. Thank you, and I'm very interested in helping you in this regard and others. Yes, so if you have connections at exchanges who can offer us some campaign services for educational reasons or promotional reasons, everything in order to make the LSK token more accessible so that people can start using it as a utility token on our platform, please feel free to connect us so that we can get in contact with them in order to launch these campaigns. Then a question by not a question by Ultra Fresh, just a grant submission for GameFi incoming. Can't wait. Hope to see it soon for wave 4 in time would be great. Then Clement, it's not a dead project. We are alive and kicking, launching the platform next year. So stay tuned for that. It's really like just the beginning for Lisk. It was a very long journey, but we're now finally at the point where we can launch it. So we're far away from that. Then the next question, I'm getting a bit distracted here by the chat, by Chemer. What do you think are the most necessary DApps the Lisk ecosystem should have? So I think the most important blockchain applications the Lisk ecosystem requires are infrastructure blockchain applications, I would call them. That means everything what is at the core principle of blockchain tech. For example, a blockchain application to create a new token, to create an NFT, to trade these tokens, to auction these NFTs. So this is infrastructure, this is principle, like a principle of every blockchain application platform. What else? Maybe an Oracle system is a requirement in order to feed off-chain data on-chain. Then we could probably see then from these infrastructure applications an expansion into user-focused blockchain applications like collectibles and games, which attract a large number of users into our ecosystem using these blockchain apps, but then moving also towards these infrastructure applications and increasing the engagement and usage overall. And there, yeah, I think GameFi is really a big opportunity to onboard many people worldwide, because gaming or gamification has always been a great strategy to pull in people. So I would say, yeah, these infrastructure blockchain apps, and then GameFi, and of course DeFi, if it's not part of the infrastructure blockchain applications, are probably the most important ones for the Lisk ecosystem. But I think that's where every developer can still cherry pick what they want to do. They just have to see what's popular on Ethereum and porting it over to Lisk. Once this was done and we have a base set of blockchain applications in place, covering basically all essentials, that's where the power of the Lisk SDK really comes into play. Because, well, for the last 6 years, I'm saying that we started Lisk in order to make blockchain accessible, but also to find a use case for blockchain technology. Back in the day, there was no DeFi, there was no GameFi. So we wanted to provide developers with this easy-to-use SDK to just experiment with it. And I think after these essentials are done, that's where developers will just play around and see what else can blockchain technology be used for. So I think that's where we can start to separate ourselves also from the competition and give blockchain the necessary use cases to, well, achieve mainstream adoption. So I can't wait to see what actually are the necessary blockchain apps for the Lisk ecosystem. But so far, it's these, let's call them boring, essential blockchain apps. Then a question by Supapli again. Many people I've spoken with mention onboarding issues as Lisk isn't offered in many common DEXs. Is this something interoperability could accomplish? So Lisk is not just an ERC20 token, which is then available on an Ethereum DEX, for example. People just don't know the technology too well, and they don't see a difference between a Shiba Inu token and the Lisk token. But we have a huge development team behind it because we are based on our own blockchain. So of course, we are not on an Ethereum DEX. The Lisk Bridge project I was talking about is about pulling in ERC20 tokens, for example, into the Lisk ecosystem. At this point, it's being researched, so I'm not sure, but maybe it will also be possible to send every Lisk token, like the LSK token itself, but also all the tokens from the Lisk ecosystem into the other chain as well. So it's like a bilateral relationship. And that would essentially mean that, well, the LSK token and all the other tokens are also tradable on all these other DEXs, for example, on Ethereum. So interoperability, what we're going to launch next year, no, but these Lisk bridges may be possible to accomplish this, what you're talking about, to bring the Lisk token and all the other Lisk ecosystem tokens to other DEXs. However, at this point, we will have our own DEX, and then it might not be that necessary anymore. But as also talked about in past interviews, I fully believe that this, well, kind of second level interoperability, that means where different blockchain platforms like Lisk, Polkadot, Cosmos, Ethereum are all connected with each other, that this level 2 interoperability is really necessary for mainstream adoption. Because I think a user only wants to have one wallet installed, but wants to have access to all these NFTs, all these tokens, and all these blockchain applications in existence, no matter on which platform they're hosted on. So let's see where the journey is going to. That's why everyone's saying crypto is still early, because we're still far away from achieving that. Then the next question by CryptoRind. Hello Max, will Lisk be EVM compatible? EVM referring to the Ethereum virtual machine, meaning smart contracts written in Solidity. No, at this point, this is not planned. We might work ourselves or give a grant externally to someone who is developing a smart contract module for Solidity for the Lisk SDK. Let's see what's being developed there, but at this point, it's not planned. I think developing a blockchain application natively into the protocol of a new blockchain is much more superior than just developing a smart contract on Ethereum. It's more scalable, it's, in my opinion, more secure, well, even more easier, I would say. So it's a superior way, so I don't see really the need for it. However, I see the technical interest that it's possible, so we might think about something like this in the future. Then a question by Michał. You thought instead of voting for delegates, there was a possibility to stake Lisk. Proof of stake is a good idea, I think. Well, voting for a delegate means staking them. What we announced at Amplify was an on-chain forging reward sharing mechanism. And this allows you to, well, as a delegate, set a percentage of your income, what is being automatically distributed on-chain to all your voters. So that means, well, voting will equal staking once this is implemented, and this will remove the middleman out of this forging reward sharing mechanism. Currently, it's still being done by the delegate centralized. So this will have many implications that will result in a much more fair system, and it will be such a big game changer, I think, for all the voters and for delegate proof of stake on our platform. So that's essentially what we're working on, and I think that's more than enough then. Then Nutrition Advice is asking if Lisk has a maximum total supply. No, the supply is being increased by 1 LSK token every 10 seconds. That's per delegate 2,500 LSK per month, so 250,000 LSK tokens every month. Or per year, then something like 2.5 million approximately, a bit more. And well, if you compare it to the total amount of LSK tokens in existence, which I think at this point is around 150 million, a bit less, I think, then this is nothing. Like, our inflation is so minimal in comparison to Ethereum, Polkadot, Cosmos, and so on. So even though we don't have a maximum supply, we have a mechanism in place to always incentivize delegates to secure the network, which is super important. While at the same time have one of the lowest inflation rates. I think in Ethereum, for example, a large incentivization is also the fee per transaction, which is then included in the block, which I think by now is like a lot of money in the case of Ethereum, because there's so many transactions. In our case, there will be so many blockchains, because each blockchain application is based on their own blockchain, that the transaction throughput will always stay relatively low, I guess, because it will be like divided on so many, or distributed on so many different blockchains. Of course, if we see a lot of success, that means all these blockchains will eventually be at full capacity, especially the Lisk main chain. But I think it's much less likely that this happens soon, because our platform is just so much more scalable. We also just announced at Amplify a new research objective for direct sidechain to sidechain communication, where it will even be removed the need to go over the main chain if you do a cross-chain transaction. So this once again increases scalability, where our interoperability solution will become even better. So yeah, the max total supply, which is not existent, doesn't matter, because inflation is minimal. And well, therefore, however, we always have an incentivization for delegates to secure the network, because the fees will stay relatively low in comparison to other blockchain application platforms like Ethereum. Then another question by CryptoRent R&D. Who has made partnerships with Lisk so far for DeFi? So I'm not sure what always it is about partnerships. People can use our SDK to build a blockchain application, and well, we just announced the DEX being our first blockchain application developed out of DeFi. I'm sure that there are many other projects coming from the community as well. At Amplifier, there was one called DoIdu, which also has a DeFi aspect. I think they were working on an algorithmic stablecoin. So many things are happening there just by our developers in our community. If it's about partnerships, maybe meaning to pull in already existing blockchain applications on other platforms into our platform or onto our platform, then this is something we want to work on next year once the platform launch is in sight, because then these projects can start working also on porting over their blockchain application onto the Lisk platform. For that, I would prefer it if the Lisk SDK version 6 is out already, because then these projects don't have duplicated work. So it's something we definitely have on the radar and will get on with next year. Then what about iOS application? I guess Lisk Mobile, this is currently in beta testing. We are like implementing all the changes which came with Lisk version 3. And there was a question earlier about when it's being released, still realistic for January, and I said yes. So let's see if we can meet the deadline there for January, and then it will be available worldwide, I guess, on the Apple App Store. Okay, then one last question to wrap it all up, because it's nice to give a little bit of a retrospect here by Clement, what has been done over the last 4 years since ICO. So it's been 5 years, 5.5 years or so. No, I think even 6 years. 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21 years. 6 years. And what has been done in the 6 years? We had multiple roadmap phases. And for that, I would like to open up the Lisk roadmap page. So the first phase was Quartz, which went from the 1st of January 2016 to 24th of May 2016, on which day our Lisk mainnet launched. And in that time, we have prepared the Lisk project, created an initial branding, and deployed like Lisk core versions to be able to launch a network. At this time, we faced heavy, like, not criticism, but the wish by the community to launch the network so that they can send their token around, for example, to exchanges. So we did that after just 5 months. And after that, with the Ember phase, we have worked on essentially, let me scroll down a little bit. We have worked on maturing this code base, which was developed just very rapidly before, so that it's stable. And it peaked with the Lisk core version 1.0, which at that point then really allowed us to sleep at night again. And this took quite a while. Why? Because we thought that the code base we took from another project in 2016 was good, but actually it was really bad. So until that time, it took us to stabilize it and to mature it. After that, during the Ruby phase, we started to develop our first main product, the Lisk SDK. And this was done then by 23rd July 2019. And I see that as the real launch of Lisk. So all the years before that, the 3 years, forget about them. The July 2019 was the real launch of the Lisk project, because at that time, our Lisk mainnet was stable and we released the Lisk SDK for developers. And after that, then we have worked on improving the SDK and the Lisk mainnet to the latest standard of the industry with Lisk version 3 during the Emerald phase, which was just achieved recently on the 21st of August 2021, where we introduced so many protocol improvements that this was the biggest migration or update any running in production blockchain has ever seen. We changed the address system, we changed the fee system, we changed the consensus algorithm, we added a BFT algorithm, we changed the multi-signature mechanism, we changed the entire architecture, so many changes. And that was a huge milestone and sets us on the same stage in terms of performance, scalability, whatever, with our competition. And now we're working on Sapphire, and that is implementing all the research done by our research team about Lisk interoperability, where if you're developing a blockchain application with the Lisk SDK, that you can make it interoperable. That means that you can connect it to the Lisk blockchain, to the Lisk main chain, or any other blockchain application then by going over the main chain. So that's what we have done. And all of this came with many releases on Lisk desktop, on Lisk mobile, Lisk service in order to simplify our user experience, and many improvements to the documentation for the SDK, and our various other efforts like marketing, business development, the website, and so on and so forth. So a lot has been done over the last 6 years, and next year we are just launching. So everything has been worked on. What has been worked on so far really was for this one moment next year where we are launching the Lisk platform. And well, I think that shows that we're in it for the long term and for the right reasons, to bring the benefit of blockchain technology to the people and make Lisk the most accessible blockchain application platform in the world. So yeah, that's what we have done. And I think with that, we have built a lot of reputation over the last years. What we have not done is build a reputation of a rising Lisk token price and a lot of marketing in that regard. So next year, with the launch of the platform coming up, we're putting more focus on marketing in order to bring this outstanding development and research work we've done in the last years to the wider crypto community so that they see our hard effort. I think the Lisk blockchain application platform will really stand out from the competition in the coming years. Okay, I think that's it. There were a few other questions coming after now my longer and statements, but they have been mostly answered before already. Quick note from my side. So this week, the team is on holidays. So everything will take a little bit longer, what is not urgent. There are the necessary processes in place for emergencies, either on the community team or the development team, also by the ops engineers. So everything will keep running, be assured of that. We can handle things. However, the main force of the team is on holidays enjoying the Christmas days. So please, if there's still something open, just wait 1 or 2 more weeks. Else, I'll of course always be available on Discord or on Twitter. So feel free to send me a message there. However, my response time will also go down. I'll be in holidays until somewhere in January. Yes, so that was the last AMA for this year. Next year, a little bit of a different format probably, where we will still do monthly AMAs, but also do AMAs or short live streams about specific topics. Additionally, the January AMA will be skipped to allow us to change to that new format, and we will see each other then again in February. So I wish you Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and then see you in 2022, the most important year for the Lisk project today, because we are going to launch the Lisk platform. Thank you so much, and see you next year. Bye.